Thank you, Mr Chairman. And to answer the questions, the government has set aside $5 million. It'll have a shareholding in proportion to that $5 million. The money hasn't been put in yet, other than $950,000 as part of the costs of setting it up, and that has the councils themselves have put in a substantial amount of money as a set-up. How much have the councils put in? 20 million. The council's going to put in 20 million.
I'll call Ian Lees-Galloway.
Thank you very much, Mr Chair. I would like to add to the positive comments of my colleagues about the local government borrowing bill, particularly Part 1, which establishes the New Zealand Local Government Funding Agency Limited. I suppose this is, in a way, this is a type of third way approach. There's either public spending by the councils themselves, or of course the alternative approach, which is to privatise assets or to go into PPPs. This is an excellent idea, I believe, a mighty fine idea. Pete Hodgson probably said at some point during his contribution, because it not only ensures that councils can borrow for their own infrastructure that they ultimately will own themselves, and ultimately that allows those councils to own their own future, but it also gives New Zealanders an investment vehicle which is reasonably safe and helps to deepen our pool of capital available here in New Zealand. And I suppose that is actually what brings me to ask a question of the Minister about Clause 7. I'm happy to admit that I come to this debate very much as a layman when it comes to these matters, and I suppose I'm going to ask a question which there'll be a very clear and easy answer to, but I think it would be a question that any New Zealander would ask of this piece of legislation. Clause 7 says that Part 5D of the Reserve Bank Act 1989 does not apply to the funding agency. And Part 5D actually has a number of clauses in it, but Part 5D of the Reserve Bank Act refers to deposit takers, and specifically in Clause 157I, the fact that deposit takers such as the funding agency which is being established under Part 1 here must have a current credit rating. It says that a deposit taker must have a current rating of its credit worthiness, or if required by regulations made under Section 157K, the credit worthiness of the borrowing group of which the deposit taker is part. And that credit rating must comply with the requirements prescribed by the regulations made under Section 157K and must be given by an approved rating agency. Now, putting to one side the fact that I suppose rating agencies, the credibility of rating agencies is a bit iffy, shall we say, in the second decade of the 21st century. I think what New Zealanders will want to know is, having put their money into finance companies, and some people have taken some serious losses there, what certainty do they have in investing in an agency like the New Zealand Local Government Funding Agency if it does not have a credit rating? And is there a mechanism by which the government provides that certainty? Is there an alternative mechanism to a credit agency rating that gives people who want to invest in that agency some concept of the risk that is involved in investing in that agency, and how secure that agency is? Now, I'm quite certain that at this stage of this bill, having been through Select Committee, that there is an easy answer to this question, but I would be very keen to hear what the answer is from the Minister, because I think what we're trying to do here is not just provide a source of capital for local government, but also to provide a safe and secure investment vehicle that we might be able to encourage more New Zealanders to invest in. Because we do know that we don't have a great savings track record in this country. We do have a very heavy reliance on foreign capital. and that is because we don't have deep capital pockets here in New Zealand. So anything that encourages people to save more and to invest more in New Zealand's own infrastructure, I think is a good thing. But I suspect that that might pose a barrier if people who are wanting to directly invest their money by purchasing these bonds, if they don't have a credit agency rating against them, that might prove to be a barrier. And we want to make sure that there are as few barriers as possible to encouraging people to invest in these bonds, so that the money is available for local government. Because I know the feedback from my own city council in Palmerston North. I'll let the minister.
Honourable Rodney Hyde.
Let me do my best.